The following is a presentation of the Waynesburg University Sports Network.
Hello and welcome into the Waynesburg University Sports Network pregame show. And no, the Waynesburg football team isn't playing today on this Tuesday night, although the men's basketball team is back in action here. We're back to producing Waynesburg University basketball games right here on the Waynesburg University Sports Network. Jeremiah Miller and Tanner Sprosky will join me. I'm Riley Holsinger. So the first thing that we're going to do here is preview the men's basketball season since they're playing tonight against Oberlin College at 7 p.m. And then we'll look a little bit into the matchup against Oberlin and Waynesburg. We'll preview and predict that matchup. So starting out here, preview the season, Waynesburg projected to finish 7th in the President's Athletic Conference poll. Jeremiah, do polls like these even matter?
No, I don't think they do because it's all preseason hype. It's based a lot off what happened last year for the Yellow Jackets. Kind of a rough season. It's kind of a tale of two seasons, honestly, for the Yellow Jackets. One before a fully healthy Matt Popek, and the second half with a healthy Matt Popek. Well, now we're going to have a full season with Matt Popek coming into his 5th year at Waynesburg University. Not going to have Isaiah Alonso, obviously transferring to Division II Colorado Christian. We'll see how that shakes up the team, at least at first. But now it's time to see Bryson Wilt, Jansen Knotts, even Ryan Feldberg, who was a little bit streaky at times last year. Let's hopefully see Ryan Feldberg from freshman year. So, no, I don't think they matter. It's just preseason. You still got to go out and play to win the game.
Tanner, let's go here now. Do you think the President's Athletic Conference got it right by projecting Waynesburg to finish 7th?
I think they did. They finished last season with a 3-7 overall record. They finished 7th out of 10 in the President's Athletic Conference. So I think for this preseason, for them to be ranked 7th, I think it's correct. It's a good assessment so far. Obviously, as even Jeremiah said, Isaiah Alonso's gone, but Matt Popek's back, and as we know, he's fully healthy. Ryan Feldberg's now a junior. He's been playing pretty well so far. Not a great year last season, but Isaiah Alonso leaving. There was no seniors that left, so that doesn't bring up a problem. But there's a couple transfers, a handful of freshmen, so the team needs to establish who it is really at the beginning of the season. They're expected to be underdogs because of how young they are, and guys like Wilt and Jansen Knotts and Jake Scheit. So I think as long as the team performs pretty well in the early part of the season, they could move up and change some people's minds. But for now, I think 7th out of 10 in the conference is a good spot for them.
Now, you guys just touched on a point that I'd like to go to next here about Jansen Knotts, about Bryson Wilt. Jeremiah, how big is the development of those guys going to be key for Waynesburg's success this year?
Well, it's going to be huge because you're going to have to make up for those points that Isaiah Alonso had. Averaged 20 a game, averaged over 10 rebounds. But I think Jansen Knotts is capable of that. I even think at times last year I thought Knotts was a better rebounder than Alonso. I think he can easily average a double-double this year in a sophomore campaign. Bryson Wilt's going to have to step up on the offensive side. I think he's fine defensively. I think he reminds me a lot of a Cam Auld of sorts from a few years ago, who's actually assistant coach now on the Yellow Jackets team. He led the PAC in steals per game at one point last year. So the defensive side, he's already established. But, those points have got to be made up somewhere, and Bryson Wilt's going to have to step up. And the guy that I really like, Jake Scheit, as Tanner mentioned, he's going to have to step up as well, probably in a bench role coming off, maybe as the 6th man a little bit at first. But he's going to have to step up. And then kind of the guy no one really knows a lot about, the Allegheny College transfer into John Kirkman. Looks like he might get the start tonight at the 5 to replace Alonso. We'll see what he can do.
And Tanner, I wanted to go to a point that you were just talking about Matt Popek. How key will it be for the offense to really rely on Popek as the focal point of the offense starting out this season? Because as Jeremiah alluded to, there's a lot of points that they need to fill, but Popek's a great guy who can fill the stat sheet.
Yeah, there's a lot of spots on this team that need to improve, need to get better. But I think Popek this year, he needs to have a very big year, especially him being the oldest guy on the team. Most of the team is young, juniors, sophomores, and now a couple freshmen. So I think if Popek's able to play consistent and play really well on the offensive side of the ball, it's definitely going to help out the team as a whole. Last season, 17 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, shot 41% from the field and 3. So those are pretty good numbers. And if the other guys are able to come up behind him and kind of support him a little bit, I think the offensive side is going to do very well. If he can play well, if Fehlberg can go back a little bit to his freshman year, become more consistent. Last season, he shot 25% from the field, only 22% from three, and that's just not gonna win you very many games. So I think if Fehlberg and Popek, who I want to say are going to be the starting guards for this team, if they're able to play well, especially together, and kind of be those leaders on this team, this offense is going to look very good. And Bryson Wilt on the defensive side, he's going to bring it every game with steals, blocks, taking charges. They'll throw him on the other team's best player, and he does a very good job on the defensive side of the ball. So if his offense is able to step up, that's a third guy you can rely on in the starting lineup. And then you touched on him. I know you like him a lot. Jansen Knotts. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's averaging a double-double during this year for the Yellow Jackets. 11 points per game last season, 8 rebounds per game last season. He had a total of 11 steals. So him offensively and defensively could play a huge role for this team. But I think if all these little pieces play well together, this could be a very good Waynesburg University men's basketball team. It's just a matter of if and when they can really get their chemistry right and play well all at the same time.
And all those players will have to step up a little bit to help fulfill the loss of Isaiah Alonso, transferred to Division II Colorado Christian. Jeremiah, you touched on it a little bit, but how big of a loss is it to lose a player like Alonso, who was arguably one of the better players in the PAC?
Yeah, it's going to be huge. I mean, you just don't replace a guy that gives you 20 and 10 a night. That's going to be hard, especially a guy who was 6'10" and shot over 40% from downtown. Like that's a huge, and no pun intended with him being 6'10", that's a huge loss for the Yellow Jackets. But I think that Tim Fusina has done a great job in recruiting guys, maybe not 6'10", but, we have a lot of height. Jordan Fisher, a freshman from Steel Valley High School, 6'5". Najon Kirkman, he's 6'5", graduate transfer. We got a couple other guys, 6'7", Big Sack Ford, he's 6'7", he's coming back for his big senior year. So I think that we will able to find size for Alonso and points, like we mentioned. I think Matt Popek could be a Player of the Year candidate this year, especially how I saw him develop last year, getting back in a rhythm. I was on the call against Grove City where he set his career high 39. I think we might see him set a new career high this year. Maybe not tonight, but I think that we're really on pace to see a historic season from Matt Popek and the Yellow Jackets.
Popek really came on strong as of late, as you mentioned in that Grove City game. It was just really good to see him come back from that injury and towards the tail end of the season play really well, and now he'll have a full season to do so here, as the men's team only had 10 regular season games last year. So no Alonso this year. Popek going to be a big guy to fill in the shoes right there. And a couple other guys gone. Jake Benhart, you have Will Helton gone, you have Gary Gray gone. Just how big of losses are those guys, Tanner?
I mean, as a whole, some of those guys like Gary Gray, he didn't play he had a lot of talent.
He had a lot of potential.
He did have a lot of potential. He just didn't get a whole lot of playing time last season. Obviously, losing Isaiah Alonso is the biggest part to this team. And as you mentioned, well, for me, the big thing for Waynesburg with losing Isaiah Alonso, I think they can make up for the offense with shooting from these other guys. But that size down low in the sport of basketball, that really matters a lot. And I mean, 6'10's a big guy to replace. Zach Ford, 6'7's the next tallest listed player on the roster. So I think if Zach Ford's able to at least just give some quality minutes, he's obviously not going to be as good as Isaiah Alonso. He doesn't shoot the three. He doesn't have the handles like Alonso did. But if he's able to be very physical and dangerous just on the blocks and in the paint, I think he can really make up for a lot of what Alonso's leaving behind here. But some of those other guys leaving, stepping away from the team or whatever the situation was, I don't think it's that big of a deal, especially because the Yellow Jackets are deep. They have a lot of guys on the bench. They have a lot of talent on the bench. But again, it's just going to come down to that youth and how they develop this season. So the losses outside of Alonso, I don't think are going to be too big of a factor. They might come into play as we see this team get into action starting tonight and through the rest of the season. But I think for now the Yellow Jackets will be all right as long as their top quality players can play well together and all at the same time. I think this team will be all right.
And one of the big additions to the roster this year to help fill that loss by Isaiah Alonso, the transfer from Allegheny College, played 4 years there, and Najon Kirkman. So Tanner, how big will it be for him to kind of be given a big role early on offensively, because he is one of the players with a lot of experience playing to go along with Matt Popek?
Yeah, he's a big guy down low. He's experienced first year with the team. It'll be interesting to see if he kind of steps into a leadership role. We know Popek's been with the team for 4 or 5 years. He's always around the guys. But with the new transfer in Kirkman, I think he'll probably have a big role, at least at first, or head coach Tim Fusina is probably expecting a lot out of him because of his size. At Allegheny, he only averaged 5 points per game, an assist per game, 4 rebounds per game. He did shoot 44% from the field, which is pretty good. In the 2019-2020 season, he shot 44% from 3, so he still shows some flashes that Isaiah Alonso had last year where he would shoot from outside of the arc. So Kirkman can come in, do a little bit of that, but I think as far as his role on the team, I think he's mostly going to be an inside guy, a paint defender, a paint scorer. So I think the success for Waynesburg, if they're getting bullied down low or having trouble with the size of the other teams, I think Kirkman's going to need to have a good season. But again, only the first year with the team, it might not go so smooth at first, but he's definitely going to have to play well for this team to have a successful season.
The men's basketball team facing off against Oberlin tonight at 7. And when we come back on the Waynesburg University Sports Network pregame show, we'll be previewing and predicting that matchup. Getting set to tip off shortly at the Rudy Marisa Fieldhouse as the Waynesburg men's basketball team will take on the Oberlin Yeomen tonight at 7 and a non-conference matchup here. Oberlin did not play last season. The last time they played was the spring of 2020, but the last time we did see Oberlin play, they ended up making it to the NCAC semifinals. So it'll be really interesting to see this team. A lot of fresh-looking faces because a lot of the players from that team were a lot of veterans. So Jeremiah, how big is it going to be to kind of see the growing pains that Oberlin might have early on because they haven't really played meaningful action in a while?
Yeah, that's beneficial for Waynesburg especially because Waynesburg, they're pretty youthful too. You know, Matt Popek's the only one coming back. Well, as a senior, Ryan Felberg too. Of course, Jansen Otts, Bryson Wilt. We mentioned Jake Scheit. They're only sophomores, and they only played 10 games last year, 11 counting the first-round PAC action. So that's going to benefit Waynesburg, but then again, it could benefit Oberlin as well. But it's going to be a very youthful matchup between these two programs. So. It could be rough a little bit early tonight. I'm not going to lie. We might see a lot of miscues, a lot of fouls early on. But looking forward to this one, though, as we get to see really where this Waynesburg team is heading into this season.
Tanner, how hard do you think it'll be for Oberlin to adjust to some meaningful game action for the first time in a couple years?
It's definitely going to be tough. It's a little different. COVID, we were unfortunately hit with everything and pretty much just screwed up the entire sports world, and Oberlin was part of that, not being able to play. So I think, similar to what Jeremiah was saying, I think it's going to be a little slow at the start of the game, even maybe the whole game. It's their first game that they've played in what seems to be forever. But I think it's going to be the same thing for Waynesburg, too, because even though they played a handful of games last season, they're still a very young team. Felberg, now considered a leader on this team, but he's still only a junior. And then Knotts, Wilt, those younger guys, only sophomores. So they don't have a whole lot of experience either. So, there's probably going to be, like Jeremiah said, some miscues on the offensive side, some breakdowns on defense. A couple guys maybe not fully knowing the plays yet on the offensive side. So I think it might be a little sloppy. I think it'll still be a good game because there is still talent on both sides. So, I think maybe a slow start, but the game overall will probably end up being a good one.
Yeah, both of these teams very young, as you both alluded to right there, but that's not saying this Oberlin team doesn't have any talent. They have a handful of guys that come from playing basketball internationally, and it's always a good sign for your program when you're able to pull those guys from the international ranks. So, Jeremiah, I'm going to ask you this. What does Waynesburg need to do to win tonight?
Got to play as a team. That's kind of a basic answer, but that's what they got to do. It can't be all one man. I think we saw that a lot last year. I think we saw, as good and as great as he was, I think we saw Isaiah Alonso try to do too much at times. Like I mentioned earlier, I was on the call for Grove City. I think Matt Popek, he had 39 and it was great, and he kept us in that game. He was the only one scoring that night. It's got to be camaraderie. Bryson Wilt has to put up points. Jansen Knott has to. Guys off the bench, too. Najon Kirkman, he's coming in as a graduate transfer. He's got to be able to put up more than that 5 points per game average that he did at Allegheny College. So it's really going to be a group effort. It can't be just one guy controlling the game for the Jackets. It's got to be, the starting five. It's got to be the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th guy off the bench as well, coming in and putting in meaningful minutes for the Yellow Jackets, not just tonight, but all season.
And it's good that you alluded to that because before Isaiah Alonso was on this men's basketball team here, it was pretty much the Matt Popek show over and over again here. And that was kind of the team that we were used to seeing, where it was ran through one guy in Matt Popek here. And even though there were really talented players on the team, like Brennan Smith, like Frank Bozovic, like Nate Gearhart, Jake Doherty, and the team was pretty much just ran through Matt Popek. So it'll be a collaborative effort like how you mentioned right there, Jeremiah. It's a good point. Tanner, what does Waynesburg need to do to win tonight in your opinion?
I think the team has to be balanced. It kind of goes off what Jeremiah was saying, where everyone needs to be involved, everyone needs to help out a little bit, and then they need to play well on offense and on defense. You can't just score 80 points and give up 90, because obviously in that matter you're going to lose. But I think Matt Popek, Ryan Feldberg in the backcourt need to have good games. The Yellow Jackets need to establish their down low players like Knotts. He's probably going to be one of their forwards, but again, he's really not that tall, but he plays a lot taller than he is, which helps out a lot. But I think for Waynesburg to win tonight and going forth for the rest of the season, I think it just comes down to balance. Having 4, 5, maybe even 6 guys have a good game, that they're able to contribute a little bit on offense, stay tough on defense, stick to the game plan. They have to rebound as a team, try not to turn the ball over. It's just those little things that you kind of have to do as a team that will go the long way and help you win. So I think as long as everybody's on the same page, there's a handful of guys that contribute. You don't let it go all to Matt Popek or all to Ryan Feldberg. There has to be a handful of guys that play well together. And I think it really just comes down to having a great team effort while having a couple individual players stand out and play really well.
Tanner, who's one of those individual players that you're going to keep an eye on to watch tonight?
Not just tonight, but all season. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Ryan Feldberg plays. Coming in freshman year, he came off the bench some games behind Matt Popek. He started some games. When Popek got hurt, he started, and he really came into this leader role, a starting point guard, and that's a big task. He struggled a little bit last season, as I mentioned, shooting below 25% from 3 and shot 25% from the field. He has the ball handling skills. He has that shot. I think he just needs to find it. So Ryan Feldberg, for me, is the guy, not only tonight, but all season long, that if he plays well, this team will be looking good by the end of the season comes.
Jeremiah, player to watch for?
Yeah, I agree with Tanner about Ryan Feldberg, but my guy, it's Big Jansen Knotts. I think this kid can really develop into being one of the best players, not only at Waynesburg, but in the PAC. Maybe not this year as a sophomore, but in his upperclassmen years, junior and senior. I think this guy is going to be incredible to watch, especially down at the Rudy Marisa Fieldhouse. Like I said, I think this year he could easily average a double-double, and I'm really looking forward to see his development, not only on the offensive side, but a defensive side. I think he could be a rim protector too. And like Tanner alluded to, not the tallest guy, listed as 6'4", but he plays like he's 6'7". So looking forward to Jansen Knotts this year, Riley.
The one guy that I'm going to keep an eye on is Stephen Ang. He didn't play last year for the men's team. He was injured, but he's been looking really good so far. I had the chance to watch him play in practice the other day. He's a really good shooter. He's a dead-eye from all over the court. It'll be interesting to see how he does. He was leading the second unit in practice, see how much time he gets playing off the bench, despite this being a heavy guard-loaded team with having guys like Bryson Wilt, like Feldberg, like Popek. Interesting to see how Stephen Ang will play a role, and he'll provide some much-needed shooting to this team. So it's now time to predict our winners for tonight's game between Oberlin and Waynesburg. Tanner, who do you got?
Nothing against Waynesburg. I think Waynesburg's going to be a good team this season. It's just the fact that they're young. They have some transfers, a lot of freshmen. They only played a handful of games last year, but on the other side for Oberlin, they haven't played in what's been seeming like forever, over a year. They still have talent. They have a lot of size, which I think at first will give Waynesburg a lot of problems. So I'm going to take Oberlin in this one, but that's nothing against Waynesburg. I think it just might be a little rough to start out the season because of the youth and some of the inexperience and some of the kinks they have to work out. But I'm predicting a good season for Waynesburg this year, but in tonight's action, I'm going with Oberlin.
Jeremiah, who do you have?
Not so fast, my friend. I'm going to go with the Yellow Jackets in this one. I think a big factor is that these guys from Oberlin haven't played in forever collectively as a group, and I think that's going to play a huge factor tonight. So give me Tim Fusine and the Yellow Jackets, start the season 1-0.
Well, Jeremiah, I'm glad you threw in the Lee Corso reference right there. I feel like it's been a while since we've had that reference right here on the Waynesburg University Sports Network pregame show. But you know what? I'm going to have to agree with Tanner here. I'm going to have to take Oberlin, partly because when you have a program that's able to pull in a lot of people from the international level, it's a really good sign for your program, and the odds are there are going to be some pretty good basketball players out here. Now, we haven't seen Oberlin play in a while, so it will be interesting to see those guys that will step up for their program since we've last seen them with a pretty veteran-loaded squad. So we're going to send it down now to the Rudy Marisa Fieldhouse as Jared Wiker and Brooke Fuller will have called the game and a more accurate representation of the pronunciations of some of those international names.
Thank you, Riley, and welcome here into the Rudy Marisa Fieldhouse. I'm Jared Wiker, joined alongside Brooke Fuller, and well, it's 54 degrees and clear skies outside, but we're ready to hear the Rudy Marisa Fieldhouse heat up and the fans enjoy a good one tonight. The Yellow Jackets welcoming in the Oberlin College Yeomen tonight for this opening game of the season. And the last time the Jackets played in here was March 14th earlier this year. It was a 72-58 loss to St. Vincent in the PAC tournament. So the Jackets looking to start off the season right with a win here tonight. The introductions going on here currently. You see Matt Popek on your screen, certainly one of the leaders here for this Yellow Jackets team this season, the senior. And Brooke, it's going to be hard to replace the offense from Isaiah Alonso.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a tough one to replace a 6'10 forward, power-dominant forward down low, shooting threes, but I think Jansen Knotts can pick up his slack. I'm really looking to see where he picks up where Isaiah left off. I'm really looking to see Ryan Felberg, see his consistency. I'm looking to see Matt Popek here back for his 5th year. There's a lot. We have 8 returners from last season for Waynesburg. A lot of experience, and then you see Waynesburg was ranked 7th in the pool after finishing the 2021 season, ranked 7th in the PAC, although this isn't a PAC matchup game. Last time Oberlin and Waynesburg saw each other, Waynesburg actually lost back in November of 2019. That was a 80-55 loss. So we're definitely looking for a different matchup here in the Rudy Marisa Fieldhouse on this lovely Tuesday night. A packed gym. The energy is crazy already.
Starting lineups for tonight, it's Mac Popet, Bryson Wilt, Ryan Felberg, Jansen Knotts, and Nigel Kirkman for the Jackets. And while Riley mentioned the pronunciations for Oberlin, it's going to be a fun one tonight. Wolf Mosier, Dmitry Radosinovich, Georgi Otostovich, Asan Snipes-Ria, and Yuki Okumbo tonight, your starting lineup for Oberlin.
To take the tip is Jansen Knotts for Waynesburg and Georgi Otostovich for Oberlin.
And Waynesburg gets the tip off, and here we go. Matt Popek starting it off. Ryan Felberg to Popek. Popek at the arc, the shot, and no good there, rebounded there by Radosinovich. Big man Otostovich to the top, Mosier, and to the left side, trying to go down low, and the ball out of play now. Jansen Knotts all over that one.
I really like to see how this Felberg and Okumbo match up. It's a really close height difference here. I can't wait to see how they match up.
Knotts over to Wilt. And Popek finds, well, it's over to Felberg. Inside to Knotts for a quick shot. And that one's no good. It's just over a minute in. 2 shot attempts offensively for Waynesburg, both of them no good.
2 turnovers for Oberlin, so that's a good start for the Waynesburg defense. That's what they need to start off. Still 0-0 though, 2 minutes into the first half.
Felberg to Popek. And Knotts. Now Popek, the Waynesburg offense heavily relying on Popek, we would assume here. The leadership from Popek, averaged 15 points a game last season. And a roller there. Otostovic got that one for Oberlin. And it will go to Waynesburg. It'll be Bryson Wilt ready to inbound.
The way that this Waynesburg offense works, you're seeing a lot of outside. It's really hard for them to get inside the paint, and we saw that with the scrimmage against Penn State Barron. I think that doesn't work in their favor. They have two very powerful big men with Knotts and Kirkman, but we'll see as this game plays out.
Short delay here, waiting on the in-game clock here to be fixed. It went to 3 seconds, and now there we go. They fixed it back to 18 minutes, 15 seconds here in this first half. 0-0 score. Waynesburg with the only offensive chances so far, but nothing has come of it so far.
It's 3 turnovers already on the Oberlin Yeomen.
And Bryson Wilt looking to inbound it here. And he gets it to Popek for the quick shot, and that's good. Popek with 3 opens the game.
That was a deep 3.
Jackets certainly hoping to see a lot of that this season from Matt Popek. Oberlin now with the possession of Kuhnbaum. Now to top of the arc. And on the right side, Moser, he goes in for the layup and he got it. Felberg for Waynesburg now. Over to Wilt. Popek with it, down low to Knotts. Left side, and Knotts working inside the paint, trying to get one off, but that's called for a travel.
I think he wanted to go there for the spin around, but we saw how a tough defense by Otostovic stopped that play.
Waynesburg student section getting a little rowdy here. You hear them cheering for the defense. And Snipes Rhea going in there. That's no good. It's Knotts with the rebound. And here's Matt Popek once again. Felberg to Popek. Inside, and no good there as Kirkman tried to get one. And Snipes Rhea with it there on the left side. Throw into, and now a long one there from Moser. That one no good. So Oberlin still unable to get the baskets they need. It's still a 3-2 lead for Waynesburg as Popek going in for the layup, and he got it. 5-2 now for Waynesburg, and all 5 from Popek. Kumbo for Oberlin, and down low. And a foul called on Waynesburg.
A great backdoor cut by Akumbo, and a great pass by Otostovic to see that. Akumbo picking up the foul on Ryan Felberg.
So Akumbo's first free throw there is good. Akumbo, a freshman on this Oberlin team, 5'8", 145 pounds. And he got the second one. So now Bryson Wilt with it over to Knotts, and Popek top of the arc. Good move, some space. Long two, no good. That one rebounded by Otastovic. And Yuki Okumbo seems to be the main leader in the offense, directing the plays, and Knotts almost had a steal. Knowles in the game, top of the key, and now down low. Knowles trying to get the two, and he got it. So Oberlin with the first lead now in this game, 6-5.
2 subs in for Oberlin. We see 0-0 Darian Knowles, and we also see Henry Lieber in.
Popek down low to Knotts. 10 seconds on the shot, and down low to Popek. That one no good. And Popek winds up with it to Knotts. Back to Wilt. And Jackets with time. 12 seconds, shot there from Kirkman, no good. Now it's Darian Knowles for Oberlin. And down low to Otastovic. And that call goes to Waynesburg. So second foul here of the half for Waynesburg. Oberlin still with none.
Ryan Felberg with a foul earlier in the first half, and now Majon Kirkman joining him.
So now Giorgio Otastovic. First one no good, and that one hit the backboard. The Waynesburg student section enjoying that one.
I feel like it's really difficult to travel here to Waynesburg because the student section is right underneath the away hoop. And that student section is loud.
Second one from Otastovic, no good. And a couple years ago, teams started on the opposite side, so what happened was in the first half, the men's visiting team would end up shooting against the wall here on the far side versus the other side, but that changed under Fusina as that one goes out of play, and Oberlin will have it. Henry Lieber getting ready to inbound for Oberlin. He'll give it to Moser. Moser now with possession for the Yeomen. Trying to go down low to Knowles, and that one goes out of bounds. And Waynesburg ball.
One of the consistent things I think with Bryson Wilt is he is a solid defender. We've seen that even his freshman year last year. He's always a lockdown defender, and we could see that in that last play there.
Felberg with possession, and that's over to Jake Scheidt. And Felberg now with possession. Scheidt fakes the shot, going in to the rim, and he gets the layup.
A little up and under move there for Jake Scheidt out of Saxonburg, PA.
Great move by Lieber, opened up some space, and now Radosinovic has it, and the shot, Radosinovic, and that one's no good. Rebounded there by Scheidt. And now to Wilt, he'll slow things down, back to Scheidt. And Felberg to Wilt. Kirkman using his body, setting the screens there. Felberg now working in a long shot there, rebounded by Kirkman. He'll send it up, no good. And Oberlin still doesn't have it. Felberg goes to the floor, but it's awarded to Oberlin.
That ball was everywhere and in everyone's hands. Kirkman had his hands on that ball 3 different times, couldn't get it up in the shot for 2 shots there.
7-6 lead for Waynesburg, and both teams early so far. missing some shots, some heavy defense early. We'll see how that plays out going forward. And travel will stop Oberlin there. It was Radosinovic trying to work the top of the arc, but he's called for the travel. It's Fellberg over the timeline, possession for Waynesburg. Now to Popek here on the right side. Wilt top of the key. Fellberg to Scheit. Now they'll move it around to Popek. And Scheit working down low, trying to get Knotts. And Popek with some moves, quick shot. That one off the rim and rebounded there by Oliver. And now Moser going in by himself. And that one's no good. Popek with the rebound. Popek to Knotts, now back to Popek. Fellberg to Wilt. Inside to Knotts, quick one. No good, that one rebounded by Moser. Darian Knowles for Oberlin inside to Oliver. And shaky one there as Moser will reset. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Radosinovic, that one tipped. And the whistle stops play. That's awarded back to Oberlin. The student section doesn't like that one. And it's a third foul for Waynesburg here. And Zach Ford will sub in for Ryan Fellberg.
And Giorgio Tostovic will sub in for number 1 Aiden Oliver out of Los Angeles, California.
So it's Oberlin with possession. Moser, quick shot, and Popek on the rebound. Once again, a missed shot from the Yeomen. And Popek to Wilt. So it's Kirkman out for the big man for Waynesburg. Zach Ford is in. And Ford with possession and over to Scheit. Ford down low. Working that one to the rim and no good. And Knowles with possession now for Oberlin. Just over 10 minutes left in this first half. 7-6 lead for Waynesburg. Very defensive. And speaking of that, it's a lead for Oberlin as Knowles scores it.
That's the third time we've seen a Tostovic throw backdoor pass, and Waynesburg gets beat by 3 times in a row.
So it's an 8-7 lead for Oberlin. It's Knowles with 4 points. Moser has 2, and 2 from Akumbo after the 2 free throws. 2 for 2 so far for him.
It's a low-scoring game here with 10 minutes already off the clock halfway through the first. Still 8-7, Oberlin leading.
And scoring for Waynesburg so far, it's Popek with 5 points, one of them coming from that long 3 early on, and Jake Scheit with 2. So 3 fouls already for Waynesburg, none for Oberlin. It's been a tight, scrappy battle down low in the paint, getting rebounds for both teams. And Oberlin took the lead late here right before the timeout.
Last bucket by Darian Knowles. He's a transfer out of Mercyhurst Erie, PA College. Mercyhurst University, excuse me. He also plays baseball at Oberlin. And over the past 2 seasons, he's averaged a batting average of 256.
You see the last bucket there by Knowles. Pretty easy to make that one. Wide open layup down low, and we'll get ready to resume action here. It's Matt Popek ready to inbound it for Waynesburg. He'll find Scheit, and now it's Wilt here on the near side. Wilt with possession for Waynesburg as we cross the halfway point in this half, in the first half. Scheit on the far side, and Wilt with an open 3, and that's good.
The The student section loving that three from Bryson Wilt. We saw, especially last year, Bryson Wilt not really a scorer, more of a defender.
Oberlin with possession. It's Moser. And we'll find Radosinovic. And now Moser with possession again, going to the rim. That one falls short. And it'll be another stoppage in play here. Waynesburg with yet another foul, 4 now for the Jackets.
That'll be Bryson Wilt's first foul. A late call there. It looked like the ref called that on the floor. But Wolf Moser out of Swickley, PA will be shooting his first foul shots of the game. The refs for tonight are Tony Thornton, Kyle Stewart, Joe Stredman.
And Moser missed his first shot.
Very intimidating with that student section yelling and screaming at you as you look directly at the basket and see them behind.
And Moser will split and get the second one for his third point of the night here. Waynesburg still up 10-9. Jackets with possession. It's Wilt over to Popek. And Popek loses it. Moser's all over that one. Tried to keep it in, but it is awarded to Waynesburg. Great effort there from Moser trying to keep that one in, and he was trying to find Otastovic, but goes out of bounds. Wilt will inbound for Waynesburg. Wilt to Popek. Popek over to Knotts. Good spin move. Doesn't shoot though. Back to Wilt. 2 seconds, 1, and the quick shot from Wilt, and that's good. And Waynesburg survives the shot clock. 5th point of the night for Wilt.
Spin around jumper for Bryson Wilt from the foul line. I'm liking how he's playing so far here in the first half.
And Moser fighting for it with Wilt. And that call will go against Wilt for Waynesburg, and student section not happy with that one. Keep mentioning the student section. They are hyped up for this game. 12-9 lead for Waynesburg. Great start to this game tonight for the Jackets.
I think that's a little detrimental for the Yellow Jackets as Bryson Wilt has to sit with 2 fouls here in the first half. 8 minutes left to go. Freshman John Tassinger out of North Carolina checks in wearing number 2.
5 fouls now for Waynesburg as Moser with possession for Oberlin. Top the key now over to Snipes Rhea. Moser with the 3, and that's good. So Moser with his 6 points of the night ties it up at 12. And some trouble there from Tastinger. And now Popek with possession, top of the key. Down low, trying to get forward. Moser with the turnover. And Moser directing his team. Tassinger trying to get some pressure there. Snipes Rhea now. And over to Akumbo. And a quick shot there, no good from Otastovic. Popek with possession for Waynesburg. Zach Ford on the screen, Popek to the rim, and that one's blocked.
Georgie Otastovic trying to send that ball off of the wall. The ref still called the foul. That's Oberlin's first foul here in the first half with 7.5 minutes left to go.
And that'll send Matt Popek to the line. First one is good.
Number 1, Aiden Oliver will sub in for number 44, Georgie Otastovic.
And Popek makes the second one, so 7 for him on the night. Leading Jacket scoring.
Number 24, Najon Kirkman will sub in for number 42, Zach Ford for the Yellow Jackets.
And Moser now with possession. Akumbo going down low. And quick shot, and Kirkman with the rebound. Cole Otley with the shot, and that one missed. Jake Scheidt with possession. Snipes Ria guarding him. And now Tassinger will go down for the Yellow Jackets, and he'll go to the line. So Waynesburg with 5 fouls, and now Oberlin with 2 quick ones.
Correction, that'll be a foul on the floor, so Yellow Jackets will take it out on the baseline.
Throw in from Scheidt to Popek. And Popek with the quick shot, no good. That one off the rim. Snipes Rio with the rebound. Go down to the rim himself, and that one's no good. And Popek will recover for Waynesburg. So Waynesburg holding on with a 14-12 lead. 6.5 minutes in this first half. And Kirkman down low. Hook shot, that one no good. Snipes Rio on the rebound. And Moser with possession. Kumbo down low to Oliver. Snipes Ria. And that quick shot, no good once again. That one by Oliver. And now Tassinger with possession. Hits Popek in the head. He wasn't ready for that one. It'll go out of play. So miscommunication there.
A lot of miscommunication there as Tassinger chest passed the ball and smashes it right off his teammate's face, Matt Popek. Darian Knowles for Oberlin will sub in for Wolf Moser.
So Henry Lieber on the inbound to Snipes Ria, and then back to him. Lieber directing the play. Scheidt guarding him. And screen there, that one to Knowles. Knowles on the assist to Radosinovic, his first 2 points of the night.
That was very great defense by Jansen Knotts. A difficult shot to make there.
Tassinger to Scheidt, working down low, and that one up and no good. Snipes Ria on the rebound. Snipes Ria has been very visible down there defensively, getting those boards. And the hook shot, no good there from Radosinovic. Waynesburg recover. The play will stop. And it's a foul on Oberlin. So the third foul of the half for the Yeomen.
Coach Tim Fusina looking for the foul as they call Darian Knowles on that. Coach Fusina entering his 3rd season here as head coach of the Waynesburg Yellow Jackets.
So Jansen Knotts out for Waynesburg, and it's Anton Baker subbing in for him. Popek with possession to Kirkman, and Popek top of the arc possession. Down low to Kirkman. And quick one there from Kirkman, and he got it.
Good little shimmy shake there on Snipes Ria for Kirkman as he scores his first points of the game.
Snipes Ria to Radosinovic, working down low in the paint, and that one with a quick one to the rim, no good. Rebounded there by Otastovic, as it was Lieber going in for the shot.
That'll be an over the back call as the student section screaming, "You can't do that." Waynesburg ball.
So Kirkman on the inbound to Fellberg. 16-15 lead for Waynesburg. Here's Popek with possession over to Scheidt. And now Fellberg. See Anton Baker setting things up there. Kirkman to Popek. Fakes the shot. Kirkman. And that one will go to Oberlin.
Offensive foul there for Nyjon Kirkman. His first foul of the game. As the ref says, he gives a push off. That'll be Oberlin's ball on an offensive foul. He'll sub out for Knotts, subbing in.
So Darian Knowles will inbound it for Oberlin. Knowles with possession, that one to Akumbo. And Moser now with possession over to Knowles. Back top of the arc and back there to Radosinovic. Heading in, no look pass there. And that attempt no good. Otastovic trying that one off the no looker. And now Scheit with possession for Waynesburg. Over to Popek, quick three shot, and that one no good. Hit the backboard and rebounded there by Otastovic. And Knowles with the quick transition, spin move, layup, and that's good. What a move from Knowles. He has 6 points now. And it's a 16 lead for Oberlin. Scheit down to Knotts. Kept in by Knotts. And he did step out. Travel now called on Jansen Knotts.
Still a low-scoring game here. 17-16 Oberlin leads with just under 3 minutes to go.
Very tight defensive first half here at the Rudy Marisa Fieldhouse. Waynesburg Yellow Jackets hosting the Oberlin College Yeomen. And Knowles with possession going towards the rim. That one rebounded by Knotts. Knowles went up and lost his footing. And Felberg recovers there. Okumbo knocking that one free, still covering Felberg pretty tightly, and now it's Anton Baker. And he goes towards the net, no good. And Knowles finds Radosinovic in transition. And that one for three for Oberlin, 20-16 lead now. So Waynesburg with the timeout. Just over 2 minutes left in this first half, a 20-16 lead for Oberlin. A tight one here.
This has been the largest deficit we've seen this game, and it's only by 4 points. Definitely been a tight defensive game, as you said, Jared. With just 2 minutes, with just a little bit above 2 minutes to go, it's a very low scoring game here. We've seen some really great plays here by Radosinovic. A lot of no-look passes for him, actually 3, which only amounted into 1 basket. But I think that's something that the Waynesburg defense needs to pick up on if they want to win this game.
Yeah, touched on it before. Matt Popek averaged 15.1 points per game. He has 7 so far tonight, but only 16 on the board for Waynesburg so far in this first half.
Going off last season, we've seen Jansen Knotts averaging 3rd on the team, 10.9 points per game, and then Felberg following him with 8.9. Felberg still scoreless here in the first half.
So play resuming. Felberg with possession over to Wilt on the left side, now top of the key, and over to Popek. Wilt on the far side. Anton Baker still in there, the man down low. And Knotts inside to Wilt. Wilt to Popek, 3 seconds on the shot clock, 2 seconds. The shot from Popek, that one no good. And that one went out of bounds, and that one goes out on Oberlin, so it will be Waynesburg possession.
You saw Anton Baker go up there for the rebound. We didn't see much time out of him last year, so I'm excited to see how he transitions into this Waynesburg Yellow Jacket basketball.
Yeah, definitely won't be surprised to see Waynesburg potentially using multiple big men, as we've even seen here tonight. Nyjon Kirkman, Zach Ford, and Anton Baker, of course, looking to find who can replace Isaiah Alonso from last season, who moved on. Minute and a half here in this first half. Oberlin with possession. And it's Wolf Moser. Moser top of the key over to Akumbo. And Moser will hand that one off. Going to the rim as Akumbo took one there, a shot, and he was hit. And that one, no good. Popek with possession. And quick two. That one off the rim. Wilt with the rebound, though. Waynesburg still with possession. Popek will direct the play, and 11 seconds on the shot clock. Wilt with possession. 4 seconds on the shot clock, 48 in the half. Quick shot, and that one by Jansen Knotts.
Jansen Knotts, his first points of the game with 30 seconds here left to go in the first half. He cuts that deficit down to 2. Oberlin still leads 2018.
Moser with possession for Oberlin. 12 on the shot clock. Knowles with the quick shot. That one off the rim, rebounded there. And Moser with possession now. He'll take a quick shot. Otacevic working down low. Several rebounds there. Play will stop. It'll be Waynesburg possession. 15.8 seconds in this first half.
Nijon Kirkman will check in for Anton Baker here in the last 15 seconds.
So the clock will wind down here. 11 seconds. Popek with possession. Knotts with possession. Kirkman going down low. Hook shot. That one makes it 4 points now for Kirkman at the end of the half, and he'll tie it. And probably not what most expected. A 20-20 tie here. End of the first half. Very low scoring, but a tight one. And I mean, 20 points for each team. Certainly something I didn't expect, Brooke.
Yeah, I definitely didn't expect that. I've seen Oberlin put up more shots than Waynesburg, but Waynesburg winning down there on the rebounds. Tough defensively. I'm looking for Waynesburg in the second half to just work it more inside, move at a faster pace, because I feel like they can definitely move at a faster pace that this Oberlin team can't compete with.
So Matt Popek leading Waynesburg scoring with 7 and Bryson Wilt with 5. 2 players for Oberlin with 6 points each. It's Wolf Moser and Darian Knowles. And we're tied here 20-20 at the end of the first half here at the Rudy Marisa Fieldhouse. Waynesburg opening the season against Oberlin here in this 2021 season, as we'll be back with the second half.
The men's basketball team lost in the first round of the President's Athletic Conference tournament last year, but the team has bigger aspirations moving into the 2021 to 2022 season.
Waynesburg returns a young team that lost no seniors last year from a shortened spring season.
We're still young, we're still learning, and we have a great group right now of guys that are determined to turn our program around. I believe they will.
Despite not losing any seniors, the team did lose some key contributors like leading scorer Isaiah Alonso. He transferred to Division II Colorado Christian. Alonso is in head coach Tim Fusina's rear-view mirror.
I don't talk about people that aren't here anymore, but I think we have a young group of guys who are determined to be great. They play hard for each other, and this is about them. It's not about people who aren't here.
Speaking of transfers, Waynesburg brought in Nijon Kirkman from Allegheny College to help replace Alonso. Kirkman is a guy who Fusina is high on.
I think Nijon will have a big year for us too. I think when you're that young and you're able to bring somebody in who's played for 4 years at the college level already and can provide leadership and also can provide something in your lineup that you don't have.
Another guy with experience and leadership for this men's basketball team is fifth-year senior Matt Popek.
He's the best scorer in the league, and I think he's a guy that if he gets going, he's liable to score 20 any night. He's a leader. He's a vocal leader. He leads by example really well also.
As for Fusina's outlook on the season, he just hopes
that we get better every day.
As for the team's goal,
we want to win. That's our main goal.
Reporting on the men's basketball season preview, I'm Riley Holsinger.
Well, you're watching the Waynesburg University Sports Network. I'm Austin Bechtold. Pleased to be joined alongside Joel Zellum, defensive lineman for the football team. Joel, thanks for coming on with us today.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me.
So how did you get your start playing football and really get a love for the game?
It started from a young age in about 4th or 5th grade. I was originally a basketball player, and I didn't like that I wasn't allowed to make contact with people or it would be a foul. And so my dad was like, hey, like, I see you're getting upset about this. If you want to hit people, like, try football. And from there, I played linebacker, and that was my job, was to hit people, and I loved it ever since.
Is there anything from basketball that you think you've taken away to help you with your game of football?
Nah, I mean, at that point, playing basketball, it was too early to really pick up on, like, certain footwork things or even running and jumping. I wasn't even done, like, getting into the mold of my body yet. So I was always awkward and lengthy, and so basketball had required more skill than I had at the time.
So take me through your high school career. Why did you decide that Waynesburg was ultimately the place that you would want to be for college?
High school was, I had a lot of success in high school. My junior and senior year, we went 7-2 both times, made playoff runs that ultimately ended in losses to Steel Valley both times, a really tough team. And Waynesburg at the time really interested me, not only for football, but for school. Coach Smithley was the one who actually did my visit, and I talked with him about coming here, and he was really honest about where we were and how we were trying to rebuild things here at Waynesburg and how he was new, and it was something that I wanted to be a part of.
Well, being a senior, what's been your favorite moment that you've had on the team throughout the years?
I have to say freshman year when we upset Carnegie Mellon. That was a big one. It was one of those things where Carnegie was really good at the time, and we were probably about an average team, I'd consider, and we weren't really picked to win. And so taking it to those guys and winning that game was a lot of fun for sure.
So take me through your mindset as a senior this year. It's been a little bit of a struggle for the team. What's just been your thought process throughout the year, and what's your last year for the program?
I think what a lot of things that isn't understood by people that are from the outside looking in is there's more to a football game than the scoreboard. And it's easy to say that they lost this game bad or beat Teal well. There's more to the story than the score. And I think what we need to focus on is that we get better every week, whether it's picking up and eliminating mental mistakes, just getting better in our technique. Obviously, we haven't had a lot of results that we'd like to see. Obviously, we want to win. But it's just a matter of getting better and keeping this thing going in an upward direction.
You mentioned some things that people might not notice about the team. What's something that people might not notice about you from an everyday perspective?
No matter what's going on, I just like to have fun and make myself laugh or make other people laugh, because I try not to take life too seriously because you don't have as much fun that way. So whether it's, pushing people around on the sideline or in practice, just having a good time, laughing and joking around, I just try not to take life too seriously.
So tell me what football team that you grew up rooting for, and if there's anybody that you truly try to mold your game after.
For me, my favorite team growing up was the Steelers. Being born in Pittsburgh, raised in Beaver Falls, I always liked the Steelers. There was a stint for a while where I liked the 49ers, just like the way that they played football and ran their offense when they had the read option. And Colin Kaepernick, it was fun to watch, explosive, different from your traditional mold of football in the NFL at the time. What was the follow-up?
Yeah, is there anybody that you try to mold your game after on the defensive line that you really like their approach and how they go about their business?
I don't particularly mold my game after anybody because guys in the NFL just have more talent than me, and I think that's something that you lack when you're not in the NFL is talent. But I see myself watching film of J.J. Watt and Aaron Donald and T.J. Watt and see their technique and the moves that they do to shed blocks and make it look as easy as they do. So I just try to pick up things here and there. My coach, John Glenn Davis, actually got me in the habit of, hey, these are guys that do this, and this well. Why don't you watch it and try and pick up some of their technique?
Who are some mentors that you had early on growing up that you really took a lot of good things, a lot of positive things away from that really helped you to be able to push this dream for you forward?
I had a coach from my first year of football to my last year of football in high school, all the way from 5th to 12th grade, and his name was Jeff Merrick, and he was always my position coach, offensive and defensive line. And he always traveled with me. I wasn't sure how it worked, but he was always a coach on my staff, whether it was in midgets, Mighty Mites, or high school. And it was something that I was appreciative of because he always just was as honest and as upfront as he can be, but he always stayed positive. And learning from him all of those years, you really build a type of chemistry with a guy when you have him for 8 years instead of 4 years. So having a guy like that was really beneficial for me coming up in the game of football.
Did he give you some of the best advice that you've had in the game, or is there anybody else that really touched you with some of their words?
Yeah, my junior year when I got hurt, I had a bone issue in my knee and I had a partial restructure. And my senior year, I was so nervous. We were scrimmaging Beaver Falls, and I was nervous to the point where I was in tears. And he came up and he was like, "Listen, I know you're nervous." And he grabbed me by my face mask and said, "Frank Gore once rushed for 1,300 yards without an ACL. I'm pretty sure you can do this scrimmage like on your knee." And all the butterflies went away after that.
So let's talk about your future plans. What is your career hopes and dreams coming up after you graduate from Waynesburg?
I'd like to land an announcing gig somewhere, whether it's with Trib Live or any other announcing. Football and basketball are my favorite to do. I've picked up a little bit of soccer, wouldn't mind doing volleyball, but plan A is to definitely become some sort of announcer, whether it's play-by-play or associate.
Would you rather football, or is there any other sport that really is one of your favorites outside of football?
Yeah, basketball for sure is my second favorite. I think sometimes it's even more fun to watch, especially when I'm in season at college. It's kind of just like a way to get away from football in terms of this is a different sport and it's refreshing. So basketball is obviously really fun for me to watch, but yeah, football is still first.
How much do you think that being able to play these sports has been able to help you from a broadcasting standpoint?
It's huge. Learning, especially from the defensive standpoint, just learning different types of coverages and schemes, understanding how the defense is called in terms of it's more reactionary to what the offense showed you, whether it's personnel, formations, or tendencies. Being able to learn that on the college level from Coach Vinik, who has been coaching here since, I believe, 2003, just picking his brain and his understanding of the game definitely expands my knowledge and helps me sound like I know what I'm talking about when I'm in the booth.
Let's go back to basketball real quick. Who's your favorite player and why?
LeBron James, because he's the GOAT.
Because he's the GOAT.
He's the GOAT.
Not Michael Jordan.
If we're here to talk about Michael Jordan and LeBron James, we could definitely go on about it. I just think he checks more boxes in terms of how complete he is in his game, and obviously he didn't have a Scottie Pippen through all of his championship runs. So that's the brief summary of the argument.
What's been your biggest takeaway being a part of this Waynesburg University football team? It's going to be really having a lasting impact forever for you.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, things haven't gone the way we wanted them to most of the time, but it takes more of a man to show up and do the work that's required of you when things aren't going your way. It's easy if you're the winning team and whatnot, but it really banding people together, my teammates, my second family, just being with them and working with them through no matter what we got going on.
Joel, as you start to approach the last couple of games here, being the final game against Bethany at home for this Waynesburg team, what has been the best part of really this season compared to other seasons that's really stood out being your last year, and have you had the opportunity to really stand around and really take everything in?
I try to just take it a week at a time and a day at a time. If you look too far ahead, you'll miss the moment in front of you, and you look too far back, what is ahead will not be as clear. So when it comes to taking in moments, I just try to stay in the present, whether it's me in my individual head or staying in the present with the people that I'm around on this team. And I've met some of the greatest guys that I've ever met in my life that I hope to be a part of my life for a long time.
Joel, I really appreciate you coming on and joining us today.
Of course.
Joel Zellum, the defensive lineman here for the Waynesburg University Yellow Jackets. I'm Austin Bechtold. You're watching the Waynesburg University Sports Network.
Welcome back here to the Rudy Marisa Fieldhouse. A very low-scoring game here to enter the second half. 20-20 tied here for the first game for the Yellow Jackets and the Oberlin Yeomen. Jared's going to give you a recap on what the score was like.
Yeah, so at the end of the first half, I said there was 2 players for Oberlin with 6 points. Well, there's actually 3, so my bad on that one. 3 with 6, and then another for 2. So Dmitry Radosinovich with 6 points for Oberlin. 2 blocks as well. He leads in blocks. Only 2 blocks in the first half for Oberlin. Wolf Moser with 6 points as well. Darian Knowles with 6. And then it's Yuki Okumbo with 2. Both of his points from the charity stripe. And then in terms of scoring for Waynesburg, well, it's Matt Popek leading the Jackets with 7. Bryson Wilt with 5. Jansen Knotts with 2. And Nijan Kirkman with 4. Jake Scheit with 2 as well, excuse me.
Yeah, something out of the ordinary. We usually don't see Bryson Wilt as a scorer. He's more of a defender for the Yellow Jackets. He's a great defender, but he has 5 points here in the first half, entering the second half. So I can't wait to see. I'm excited to see if he keeps up that same pace, maybe getting into double digits here in his second season as a sophomore. Oberlin will receive the ball first as Waynesburg won the tip off the first half. 20-20 here in the second half. Rudy Marisa Fieldhouse, a lot of energy coming from the student section. Hopefully Waynesburg can pull the dub out here in the second half.
And it's been a very different game than usual, really, for any basketball game, really, in general. After reflecting after the first half, I mean, very few stoppages. Obviously, low scoring, 20-piece. We've hit that. But just a very interesting game. I mean, Oberlin really shooting 30%. Waynesburg not any better, shooting 28%.
Yeah, I expected a little rust here for Oberlin because they didn't play at all last season. We saw the Yellow Jackets only played 10 games, but that's still 10 games, and Oberlin didn't see the floor once for a game last season. So the last time they played was in the 2019-2020 season. So I'm sure this transition for them after the pandemic shut them down last year, this might be a little rusty for them coming back after a year completely off, playing no games. Oberlin looking to inbound the ball to Yoki Okumbo. Here as Oberlin crosses the charity stripe, screen right to Feldberg. Atostovich at the foul line. That'll be up in over Nijan Kirkman. Popek dribbles up the ball. Score is 22-20. Oberlin leads here within the first minute of the second half. We see a lot of passing here for the Waynesburg offense. They're always looking for good shots. That is something they do very well. They distribute the ball. Nijan Kirkman for the 3. That'll spill over the side. Rebound by Radosinovich. Okumbo brings the ball up, guarded heavily by Brian Feldberg. Oberlin plays a similar offense as Waynesburg, as they're more on the outside. That'll be a travel call on Snipes Rhea. As I was saying, Waynesburg and Oberlin both play similar offenses. They're not very heavy inside. They're more looking to drive in, kick out. Feldberg bringing the ball up half court. Met by Okumbo. Nijan dribbling. Spin move. Looking for the up and under. That'll be up, and that won't be in. Good hustle by Bryson Wilt as the ball's rolling on the floor. Moser winning the ball. Refs letting that play go a little longer than usual as Moser and Bryson Wilt fight for the ball. Moser ripped the ball off Wilt. And then we've seen Matt Popek come in, try to rip the ball off Moser, and the refs just watch a little tussle go on the court.
Love to see the players playing with a lot of heart.
Bryson will inbound it from the baseline for the Yellow Jackets. 22-20 here, with just a little over 18 minutes to go in the second half. Little discussion here by the refs as The Yellow Jackets wait to inbound the ball.
And we saw Oberlin score on the first shot here in this half, so something to watch moving forward. Oberlin, if they're finally able to hit the basket on their shots. Obviously, mentioned both teams. Oberlin only shooting 30% in the first half, so if Oberlin starts making these shots, obviously can start running away with it.
Wilt into Popek. Popek back to Wilt. Knots to Popek at the top of the key. Popek with the 3. That'll be an air ball. We've seen Popek shoot a lot of 3s tonight. First air ball of the night, but still 22-20, with just a little over 18 minutes to go here in the second half. Moser bringing the ball up, guarded heavy by Bryson Wilt. Over to Okombu. Well, kick to the top of the key. Back to Moser. Moser dribbling into the paint. Up. That won't go in. He looks for a little layup, guarded heavy by Bryson Wilt. Kirkman looking to bring the ball up. Wilt in the center of the key. His shot is up and in. I'm liking the way Bryson Wilt is playing. That's 6 points here for, that's 7 points here for Bryson Wilt in the second half. That'll tie this ball game 22-22 with just under 18 minutes to go. Once again, another no-look pass from Radosinovic into Snipes Ria. Snipes Ria will score the layup. 24-22 here. 17 minutes left to go in the second half as Popek dribbles it up and is met by Moser at half court. Felberg to Knotts in the corner. Knotts to Kirkman at the foul line. Stolen by Okombu. Up for the 3 for Radosinovic. That's up, and that's good. 27-22 here. As Oberlin looks to take over this lead. Felberg up with the layup. That'll be blocked. Oberlin ball. We haven't really seen much out of Felberg tonight. I'm looking for him to become more of an offensive threat, not only in this game, but also throughout the season. He is a junior. I'm looking for him to take more of a leadership role.
Yeah, 0 points for him in the first half and averaged just under 9 points last season.
Felberg with the shot again. That won't go. Layup looks like it was blocked into the student section. Oberlin ball. Okombo will inbound the ball to Moser. Moser will be met by Wilt on the right side of the court. Okombo over to the corner. Knowles with the 3. That'll be up and out. Bryson Wilt with the rebound, looking to push with the tempo up the court.
Knowles had space there. I feel like that's one you probably got to make, especially in a close game like that.
Yeah, and maybe not even so much the 3. Drive in, he was, as you said, he wasn't guarded. Oberlin pushing it up the court here. Moser with the ball. Moser over to Radosinovic. Over to Otostovic. Otostovic at the top of the key for the 3. He'll miss that. Heavily guarded by Nigel Kirkman. Bryson Wilt will dribble this ball up the court, slowing down the game. Looks like Moser wants to push him into uncomfortable. Felberg at the wing. Back to Popek at the 3. Popek dribbling in, looking for Felberg. Felberg for the 3. That won't go. Oberlin rebound by Otostovic. Okombu will toss it up the floor to Moser. Moser to the top of the key. Knowles guarded by Popek. Shot is up for Otostovic. That'll hit the top of the board. Out of play. Waynesburg ball. Subs in here. We see Stephen Eng in for the first time, subbing in for Ryan Felberg, and Jake Scheit, who we saw made a couple plays here in the first half. I'm excited to see what he can do for the second half for the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, and just under 5 minutes in here this second half, Waynesburg only shooting 1 for 7 so far for 2 points. Oberlin 3 of 6.
27-22 here in the second half, with just a little over 14 minutes to play. Jake Scheit with a 3, that's up and in. Student section loving that. Deficit down by 2, 27-25 here in the second half. With just over 14 minutes to go, Zakombo is met by Stephen Eng. A miss will be rebounded. Steve Eng pushing it up the court to Scheit. Scheit to Wilt at the top of the key. Wilt to Knotts. Knotts driving into the paint. Up. He'll miss that layup. Stopped by Moser. Radosinovic looking to push the tempo. Akombo for the layup. Bryson Wilt here with the aggressive block on Aiden Oliver. The student section standing up, loving that. We don't see much aggression like that out of Bryson Wilt.
Yeah, and that happened really because Yuki Okumbo really dogged it. I mean, he saw him try to do a fancy move down low, get that layup on the rim, and he paid for it.
Yeah, he simply had the left-hand layup. I think he just wanted to show out for the student section, but the student section wasn't having that.
You've seen the Oberlin bench at times look over to the student section. It is starting to get a little rowdy here.
That's what we need here. The players feed off that energy. 27-25 here with just under 14 minutes to go in the second half. Waynesburg ball. Stephen Eng shooting for the 3. Up and in from Don Patrones. Score will be 27-28, Waynesburg leading. Oberlin ball. Yellow Jackets picking up the intensity of this defense, as we can see. And one on Jake Scheit. Aiden Oliver with the hoop, and will shoot for 1. 29-28 here as Oberlin regains their lead. One shot here. That'll be Waynesburg's first foul of the second half. Oliver shot up and in. That'll make the score 30-28 with just a little over 13 minutes to go here in the second half as Bryson Wilt dribbles it up and hands it over to Eng. Up to Popek on the left side 3-point line. Knotts at the top looking for Scheit in the corner. Eng over to Popek. A lot of distribution here for the Yellow Jackets as there's 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Eng looks to pass to Knotts, who cuts, but that'll be a turnover and stolen by Knowles.
Oberlin unable to make the hoops. Knowles had the space and Oliver unable to make it.
I'm wondering what Coach Fusina said to the Yellow Jackets down in the locker room. We've seen them pick up the intensity on defense, which they played really good defense in the first half, but it's intense here.
Yeah, and really, I mean, in the second half at least, it's also been some simple mistakes by Oberlin. We just saw their Knowles hitting an absolute gift, like there to Moser.
It's almost as if Oberlin is just being very careless with the ball. They've had now 2 layups that should have been easy layups, easy buckets, should be 34-28. But Waynesburg's aggressive defense is still keeping them in this game. 30-28 here with just a little over 12 minutes to go in the second half. Kirkman over to Popek on the right side of the 3-point line. Kirkman looking into Scheit. Over to Eng in the corner. Eng for the layup. That's up and in. 5 points for Stephen Eng here. We didn't see him in the first half, but he's definitely making plays in the second half, and that's what Waynesburg needs here. Score is tied 30-30. A little under 12 minutes to go in the second half. Aiden Oliver with the drive-in on Jake Scheit. He'll miss that layup. That'll be Waynesburg rebound. Popek dribbles it up the court. Popek looking for the 3. Just in between the 3-point line, right above the free throw. 2 points for Matt Popek. Waynesburg regains their lead 32-30 here with 11 minutes to go in the second half. Oberlin passing the ball. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Moser with the three. Very deep three. They had a couple open shots, but Moser decided to what looked like a forced shot. Waynesburg, Popek with the three. That'll hit off the front of the rim. Oberlin rebound. Nose will dribble up the ball for Oberlin. Moser is met by Bryson Wilt for the layup. Won't get that layup, met by a tough defender in Wilt. Oliver looking for an open Yeomen. Over to Nose for the three. That'll be up and in. That's the second three that Nose got to shoot that was unguarded. Although he didn't make the first one, he did make the second one. And that will give Oberlin the lead here by 1 point, 33-32, with just a little over 10 minutes to go in the second half.
Yeah, and how about Steven Enger here in this second half? 5 points for him already, certainly making a big impact in this second half. Could be a dark horse offensive player for the Jackets moving on for the rest of this season, something and someone to watch moving forward here.
Yeah, we didn't get to see any of Steven Eng last year as he was out with a season-ending injury. And I'm glad to see that he's back here healthy. He's definitely helping out. He's definitely helping out the Yellow Jackets. Steven Eng is a brother of a former Waynesburg Yellow Jacket women's basketball player. You can see the layup on screen. It'll be 33-32 with just above 10 minutes left to go in the second half. Waynesburg looks to inbound the ball. Popek takes it over half court. Over to Eng at the top of the three. Back to Popek. Kirkman with the screen. Popek into the paint. Up. That won't go in. Fighting for rebounds down here. Kirkman and Popek will both dive out of bounds.
Yeah, awfully close to the benches here. That was certainly a little scary when you see a guy like Matt Popek. Great to see him running around, putting the full effort out there, but certainly a close one.
Moser to bring it up here at half court. Met by Eng. Felberg guarding Okumbo. Okumbo into the paint, out to Moser at the corner of the three. That'll be up and in, a three-pointer for Moser here. 36-32. Oberlin takes the lead with just under 10 minutes to go in the second half.
Yeah, great shot by Moser there, falling down, still able to get it for the three.
That'll be an Oberlin rebound over to Moser. Guarded heavily by Felberg. Spin move. Felberg wasn't falling for that. Picks up his dribble over to Okumbo. Not sure what just happened. Looked like number 44, Otasovic, got tripped up by Eng.
Yeah, it's going to be a foul on Waynesburg. So Waynesburg now with 2 fouls in this second half. Oberlin with 1.
Oberlin inbounds it, nose up for the layup. That'll be a foul on Popek. Looks like he disagrees there.
Yeah, and it's another foul on Waynesburg. Send Knowles to the line.
No's first shot is up and good. 37-32, Oberlin leads here with 9 minutes left to go in the second half. His second free throw is good. That'll be 38-32 here.
And Knowles now with 11 points here.
See Oberlin's bench getting a little rowdy. That's the first we've seen of this game as they are leading by 6 points. 38-32 with just under 9 minutes to go. Wilt to Knotts. Knotts dribbling inside. That'll be a foul by Akumbo as he tries to steal the ball off of Knotts, who is double teamed by Akumbo and Radosinovic. Will inbound it baseline for Waynesburg.
Yeah, Kumbo with the foul there. Oberlin's second in the half.
Matt Popek for the shot at the foul line. That'll be up and good. That's his money shot tonight. That's the second time we've seen that in the second half right there. 38-34 with just under 9 minutes to go in the second half. Nose dribbles it up, met by Popek. Over to Combo. Met by Felberg, who gets a screen. Kicks it out to Nose, up the top to Oliver. Up to Snipes Ria. A lot of distribution here. Aiden Oliver for the layup. Zach Ford subbing in here. Popek on the right side of the floor. Looking for Knotts inside. He misses Knotts. Over to Felberg on the left three-point side. Popek for the three. Can't get that shot off quick enough. 2 seconds left on the shot clock. Felberg, his shot will miss. Still has 0 points here in the second half with just under 8 minutes to go. 40-34, Oberlin leads. Jared, how do you think that is affecting Waynesburg, that a player such as Felberg, who's getting a lot of minutes, isn't helping them offensively on the scoreboard?
Yeah, well, when you only have 34 points on the board, you know, and you have a guy you need to depend on, Felberg, which I'm very confident in him. I think he can definitely lead the Jackets this season.
Seen an aggressive offensive move by Bryson Wilt, who speeds up past everyone. He'll miss that layup. Aiden Oliver into the paint for the layup. Another and one for Aiden Oliver. That'll make the score 42-34 as we see Oberlin gaining a little ground on Waynesburg. I was liking the way that the Waynesburg Yellow Jackets were playing the first half of this second half to begin. But we've seen the intensity go down. I feel like a lot of the energy in the gym also has gone down. Aiden Oliver for the and one foul shot. Looks like the refs will call a foul. He'll get another shot. A foul on Ryan Felberg here at the foul line. We don't see that often, but Felberg shoved Otasovic down low. Aiden Oliver missed the first free throw, but it was called back and makes the second free throw attempt. 43-34 here, with just a little over 6 minutes to go in the second half. Felberg into the paint. Over to Kirkman for the three. That'll be up and won't go in. Rebounded by Snipes Ria over to Moser. Will be met by Wilt.
Yeah, really prime example there. I mean, Oberlin in the second half, 22 points scored, shooting 42% on the floor compared to Waynesburg's 31%. I mean, really, the Yeomen have finally been draining the chances they had. The first half, I mean, Oberlin could have had a pretty sizable lead, but ended up being tied.
Popek over to Wilt on the left side of the floor. Screened by Knotts. Over to the foul line, back to Popek on the right side of the floor. Just above the three-point line to Knotts at the three-point line, looking inside. We've seen the Yellow Jackets struggle to get the ball inside. Wilt with the up and under. He'll pass that out to Felberg, who will drive into the paint for the layup. That'll be his first points right at the shot clock. 2 points for Felberg as the Yellow Jackets call a timeout.
Yeah, finally seeing Felberg score his first 2 of the night, and really, I mean, 5:47 left in this second half, and Waynesburg down by 7. So certainly, Brooke, I know when on the court and you're trailing like this, when do you start taking those chances?
I feel like they, as the Yellow Jackets, Matt Popek is their leader. They look to him. And I feel as though when he is struggling, the team is also struggling. I feel like there's no energy, and that's something they need. They need a leader to take over, and that's definitely something, as a fellow basketball player, that we look for, to someone to take charge and just take over, and we haven't really seen that here in the second half. As Waynesburg, their deficit grows larger here, 43-36, as you said.
Yeah, and Popek just 11 points in this game so far, 7 in the first half. He did hit a 3, but 4 so far in this second half. And mentioned Felberg, 2 points for him, but obviously Matt Popek, another guy Waynesburg is going to lean on heavily, the senior guard this year.
It'll be Oberlin's ball. Snipes Ferreira will inbound it to Moser. Looks like Yellow Jackets have decided to pick up a full court press as Felberg meets a combo at half court. A lot of distribution here on the offensive side as we see from both teams. That'll be a quick pass from a combo and a Otostovic for the layup, 45-36 here. A 9-point deficit for the Yellow Jackets with just about 5 minutes to go here in the second half. Yellow Jackets looking to pick up a little traction here on the offensive side. They've been struggling here for about 5 minutes. In the second half, Jansen Knotts for the drive in. He won't get that. He'll get his rebound though. And that'll be 2 points for number 22, Jansen Knotts. Moser brings the ball up here at 45-38 with just under 5 minutes to go in the second half. Moser to a combo, inside to Oliver. It'll be tipped out by Knotts. Knotts over guarding heavily. Felberg also guarding heavily. Snipes Ria into the paint. Travel by Snipes Ria as it looks like he had too much momentum coming off that pivot foot. That'll be an Oberlin turnover. Waynesburg ball. Nose will sub in for Aiden Oliver.
Yeah, Snipes Ria just trying to do too much there. He was in between trying to keep possession and then also trying to take it to the rim.
Still 45-38 here. Just over 4 minutes to go in the second half. Jake Scheidt into the paint. He'll flip it over to Felberg. Felberg back to Scheidt. Just under 10 seconds on the shot clock. Nijon Kirkman over to Popek. 2, 1 second. Scheidt won't get that shot off. Shot clock violation by Waynesburg. Waynesburg, this game, we have seen them struggle to get the ball inside. And I feel like the Yellow Jackets are a team that needs to work that ball inside and kick the ball out for a shot. Just gain more movement than just outside the three-point line. 45-38 here with just under 4 minutes to go. A combo will toss that ball out of bounds. That'll be Oberlin turnover.
And the Jackets got bailed out there really by that errant throw by Akumbo after that shot clock violation. Certainly some simple mistakes for the Jackets. Don't want that moving forward when you're down 7 late in a game like this.
A reach around foul on Akumbo. Excuse me. Scheidt to Wilt in the backcourt. Wilt dribbles it over the charity stripe. Popek looking inside, over to Scheidt. Wilt into Scheit in the paint. Knocks the ball out of his hands. That a Waynesburg turnover, but Waynesburg gets the ball back as Knotts gets a steal over to Bryson Wilt. Wilt for the three, up. That won't go. Oberlin ball here at 45-38 with just now under 3 minutes to go. That'll be Waynesburg rebound as Radosinovic is down on the ground. Looks as though he's holding his eye. 45-38 here with just under 3 minutes to go in the second half.
He got it pretty quickly, though. That's a good thing to see.
The Yellow Jackets need to pick up the intensity here in the second half as they have just under 3 minutes left. 45-38. Jared, it feels as almost though the energy has just completely died for the Waynesburg bench.
Yeah, certainly, definitely visible, but you know, still time left. 2:49. Oberlin just took their 4th foul here in this half, and so for Waynesburg, kind of been hitting on it, but really got to hit those shots when you're in low-scoring game. Of course, obviously in general as well, but just 28% in the first half and not much better here in the second so far for Waynesburg.
It'll be Waynesburg's ball as Jake Scheit looks to inbound it. 45-38, just under 3 minutes.
Still have a stoppage here talking it over, but getting back to that 30% here in the second half for Waynesburg so far, shooting.
24 seconds on the shot clock as Wilt kicks it over to Scheit. Back to Wilt at the top of the key. Knotts for the three, up, and that won't go. Rebound by Snipes Ria. Oberlin ball. Moser met by Scheit. Over to Snipes Ria. I'm not really sure. Looks as though number 44, Georgia Tosovic, did the worm at half court.
Well, like went down and then he just hopped up, as you saw him on screen giving a smirk there. Definitely don't see that too much.
A couple of Oberlin players smiling, a little confusion. As you can see on the screen, kicks himself back up. It's the first time I've ever seen that in a basketball game. Stephen Eng subbing back in for the Yellow Jackets. Eng is the sibling of a former Waynesburg Yellow Jacket women's basketball player, as I was saying earlier. Rachel Eng, who is an academic All-American, made a huge impact here for the Lady Jackets in her 4 years. Eng looking to make just as much of an impact for these Yellow Jackets as he already has. 5 points here, only entering in the second half. Eng will meet Akumbo. Akumbo at the top of the key, right inside the three-point line. Won't go. But Otosovic will hit it back to Knowles for the offensive rebound. Akumbo looking to pass the ball over to Otosovic. Knowles at the top of the key, guarded by Popek. 6 seconds on the shot clock. His shot won't go in. That'll be rebounded by Nijon Kirkman. 45-38 here with just under 2 minutes to go. Still no score from the Yellow Jackets. They're going to need a bucket here soon. That'll be a foul on Moser. They're going to need a bucket here soon if they want to pull out this win. They've been stagnant here. Both teams actually have been stagnant here for around 5 minutes or so, as the score has not changed. 45-38. Subs in Akumbo. Akumbo will sub out for Snipes Ria. Wilt will inbound it to Matt Popek, who looks to drive into the paint for a easy layup, who will be blocked by Radosinovic. That will send Popek to the foul line.
Yeah, 2 quick fouls on Oberlin here. Just took the 5th when play resumed, and then you saw the play on Popek knocking him down. That was the 6th now here in the second half.
Just under a minute and a half here to go. 45-38, Popek's first shot. Won't go. Eng will sub out for Felberg. I feel like the Yellow Jackets should really utilize Eng here in the second half, the remaining minute and a half. He is a very great three-point shooter.
Yeah, he provided life earlier for the Jackets. Got a quick 5 points, hit a 3, and then a 2.
Popek's second shot will be up and in, making the score 45-39 here in the second half, just under a minute and a half. His third shot up and in. 2 out of the 3 foul shots there for Popek, 45-40, giving the Yellow Jackets some life. Popek looking to reach for the steal, but Oberlin will call the timeout.
Yeah, we mentioned before about obviously low-scoring game, 45-40 game, but going back to last season, the Jackets offense averaged 65 points a game, gave up 68 points a game on average. So obviously Brooke well below that tonight. And although, you know, it is a close game, only 5. So defensively, I mean, I'll give full credit to the Jackets on defense. But really in the second half, the difference really has been, you know, Oberlin able to finally make those shots.
Yeah, and I think that Oberlin making those shots kind of took the Yellow Jackets' morality down a couple notches, and you could see that on the floor. Although they did still compete on defense, we've seen them hit a stagnant point here on offense. And as a viewer, we need the Yellow Jackets to get a leader, kind of make someone make this offense come alive, give them some life. We've seen Popek just scored 2 out of the 3 foul shots, but they're still down 5 points here with a minute and 20 seconds left to go in the second half. I like the offense that Wilt provided a lot of life here in the first half. I'm going to see him contribute here in the second half along with Felberg, who also only has 2 points. Felberg averaged just under 9 points, 8.9 points per game last year, so under his average as of last year here in the first game as the Yellow Jackets compete. It'll be Oberlin's ball. Otostovic over to Moser. Moser into the paint. Rejected by Wilt. That'll be a travel. Once again, lockdown defense by Bryson Wilt. That has been something that has been consistent for him. Eng will sub in here for Felberg. And Snipes Rio will sub in for Akumbo. It'll be Yellow Jackets' ball as they inbound on the far side of the court. Popek into Wilt with just a little over a minute here to go, 45-40. Yellow Jackets looking to score here. Knots over to Eng. Eng to Wilt. Wilt for the layup, up and in. Once again, giving life to this Yellow Jackets just when they need it. Deficit now 3 points. Great move by Bryson Wilt here. 45-42 with just 48.5 seconds left. Although it is just under a minute, that is still a lot of time left to go here in a basketball game.
Yeah, and trailing down by 3 like this, I mean, usually you assume, you know, the long ball for the 3 going to be something Waynesburg will try to get here, but only shooting 2 for 10 so far in the second half, so that's something to watch. But you see Wilt there taking that right in. Great move, able to get the space he needed.
You could see that they were setting that play up, a back screen for Eng coming up, but Oberlin knows that Eng already made a 3, 1 out of the 2. threes tonight for the Yellow Jackets, so they're definitely guarding him heavier because they know that Waynesburg needs a three, and that was the play that they were running.
Yeah, and Wilt with that last bucket up to 9 points. He's second in scoring for the Jackets. Popek leading with 13 points. And we saw Stephen Eng back out there, and he's on the bench now, but he's tied for third in scoring with 5 points, despite only playing in the second half.
This is definitely a different game than last matchup back in November of 2019 when Oberlin blew out Waynesburg with a score of 80-55. And now Waynesburg only down three here, in the second half. 45-42 here with just under 40 seconds left to go in the second half. Wilt guarding Moser. Moser over Knowles, back to Moser at the top of the key. Otostovic back to Knowles. Oberlin looking to waste time. Knowles goes inside, turns it over. The Yellow Jackets with just 15 seconds left to go in the second half need a three. 45-42. Jansen Nuss with the three. Popek with the three.
What a
up
keep
and
in Popek.
Oh, missed that right at the buzzer. 45-42.
And stoppage in play looked like just before the buzzer as the team's staying out there.
Not sure what the refs just called, but it looks like the student section is disagreeing with it. It'll be Oberlin's ball with 0.3 seconds left to go here. 45-42.
And it was a great keep in for Waynesburg offensively, able to keep it in and then get that to Popek for the shot. And I mean, that's the guy you want taking it late in the game for a shot like that, but unfortunately didn't go, and play stops, 0.3 seconds left here.
I don't think that that was the play they set up for the big man and Jansen Knotts to shoot the final three, but he was the only one open. As you can see, the save in. Popek for a deep three. Rolls in and out of the rim.
Yeah, and that's an absolute tough one. Just inches. So just 0.3 seconds on the clock. Certainly not much you can really do with that. Tim Fusina drawing up the play for the Jackets.
Not sure if even 0.3 is enough to get a ball out of your hands, but it is Oberlin's ball, which makes this hard on the Yellow Jackets to make a comeback win. 45-42 here with 0.3 seconds left. That'll conclude the first game for the Yellow Jackets of their 21-22 campaign season. 45-42. Oberlin with the win.
Yeah, and 0.3 seconds on the clock as we saw Radosinovic just chuck that towards midcourt. And, I mean, the Jackets able to come back and get down by 3. We talked about the shooting. The Jackets ended up 32% in that second half, 9 of 28 for field goals, just 2 of 12 from 3. Something we watched, and Matt Popek ended up leading the Jackets in scoring with 13 points. Bryson Wilt with 9.
Although it is a loss for Waynesburg, I feel like they have a lot to build off here. We could see, as I mentioned in November of 2019, the last time that these two had a matchup, Oberlin blew out Waynesburg 80-55, and we can see they only lost by 3 here. So although it is a loss and there's not much, we can take a positive from this. I feel like it's a great stepping stone to going into the season. And this isn't pack play, but this is definitely a tough Oberlin team to beat, and I feel like Waynesburg really stepped up to the podium.
Yeah, and scoring leaders for Oberlin, Darian Knowles with 11 points, Dimitri Radosinovich with 9, Wolf Mosier with 9 as well, and Aiden Oliver with 8 leading the team. And opening night loss to Oberlin, 45-42, but this upcoming Saturday, Yellow Jackets basketball on the road at Penn State Barron at 7 o'clock, and so we'll look forward to that one. But yeah, again, Matt Popek, 13 points for the Jackets, and the opening night loss for Waynesburg, 45-42 here from Rudy Marisa Fieldhouse.
This has been a presentation of the Waynesburg University Sports Network.